Hello, people. Welcome to the second episode of our podcast. And after the crazy response from the first episode, which was just 20 people who listened to it, we still strive on, we move forward. I think today we have something new to talk about. And as you know, we all talk about pop culture. So I think let's just introduce the topic, shall we?
Yeah, sure. So today we are going to talk about video games that we grew up playing. Okay, we grew up in the mainly in the 2000s, right? So games that came out that time that really shaped our childhoods. Okay, whoever was a nerd like me, at least every one of us played games during that time. Even we still do, but yeah, those are having a nostalgic effect on us. So we are going to talk about those kind of games that came out during that time and shaped our life. Okay.
Right.
Right. So, very,
So,
yeah, yeah. Go on.
yes, Savvy. So, tell me, what was the first game that you remember playing after you got a
Yeah,
computer?
at that time the games used to have a common thing. Like they weren't high on graphics, definitely. They weren't too complicated. Like you didn't have to press five keys at a time to do one single move or something like that. They were simple, but they used to, give us a simple effect. One of the first games that I got on my PC was Road Rash. It was a game with very potato graphics or whatever you call it. I mean, it's like I can draw better graphics probably, but uh, that being said, my computer at that time I used to have a desktop with one of those probably 32 MB RAMs, or I don't even know what was the configuration. I don't remember. But the road rash was something. It's just one single track. Sometimes goes left, sometimes right, and then comes those one or two players whom you just kick out of your way. It was simple. You just had two keys, two to three keys. There was no braking involved. Who breaks on a race?
I
So
feel there
it
were
was
like
two to three.
characters
Yeah,
like Mike and all, like I remember in Road Trash.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Road Rush was the first game that I ever played. Like that was my introduction to PC gaming. And I played the.
I
I never played the actual full game. Never. I played the demo version. That was a
yeah,
big thing back then. These
Uh,
days you
so
same
don't
uh,
see demo
yeah.
versions.
same
Yeah,
here.
and I actually had a brother who had the full versions. That time, he actually gave me a CD. At that time, there were no pen drives, nothing, just CDs. And there was even a floppy disk. I remember, but
Yeah, sure, sure,
uh,
sure.
yeah,
Bro, it's
I
really, yeah, yeah, go on.
I remember that like when I got my PC, it was like I was quite old at that time. I think it was in class 5 or class 6. And yeah, for my first PC, it was like more powerful than you folks are saying, right? 32 megabytes of RAM. Like no, my I had like 1 GB. So yeah, at that time there were lots of other games which were like better on graphics. So when I first played Road Rash, it was a fun experience, but yeah, I only played the demo and maybe once or twice and never went back because the games that I was into, they had much better graphics. One of the first games I remember spending hours trying to solve was IGI,
Of
and
course.
I still remember there was a mission in it called Border Crossing, and
Yes.
it was the sixth mission of the game, and you would start off with nothing, just a knife, and you had to get a kill and move on. And every time I would die to the tank, which would be crossing the road, and it would spot me and fire and kill me instantly. I think I was stuck on that level for like years.
I think talking about stuff like IGI and like games like this, I personally have been not so big on PC gaming. Like my start and end was games like Road Rash, IGI, Counter Strike, and the GTA games, and that's I think where it ended because like I had other interests. Like it was not mostly like on PC gaming, and also like unlike you, people have had much lesser exposure given there. So like for me, Road Rash was all like if to till date anybody tells me, bro, you used to game, bro. I was like, obviously, yeah, Road Rash, and they're like, it's not gaming, bro. Can you never use it as an example? And that's like that's my only exposure to PC gaming. But besides that, I think like growing up, I had a console. Like it was not a PlayStation or an Xbox. It was a, I think there was a Japanese company. There was
Sega.
the name was the name was with M.
Okay, let's not hang
For
up
some
on that.
reason,
Mitsubishi.
for some reason, the name Mitsubishi is coming off to my head, but that's a car.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah,
They make cars, they make pins. They might have made a console. Who knows? Maybe it
could
is
be, could be.
Mitsubishi.
I'll
Yeah.
just go to my like loft and check it out. Which one is it? But like, I had this gaming console, and my exposure to games was stuff like Contra, Mario, Tekken, and all those kind of games. Like it was mostly like
Yeah,
one
Mario was
punch.
Yeah,
something that
those used
even
to
we
come.
all, I believe all of us had experience to Mario. Like there was especially the fact that we had levels like those underground levels and
Yeah,
it's fact that many of the levels on Mario were discovered long after we had even like completed the game. Then we realized that okay, there was a side level there which we never
I think I
realized.
never completed the game. Did you guys ever complete the Mario game?
No, no, never.
I completed it on phone. But speaking about Mario, you guys saw the new trailer for Mario that has come out?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Oh God.
And how do you feel about it? Like, are you excited?
No,
Will
not
you
at
will
all,
you
bro.
go to?
Like,
No.
to be very honest.
I believe the games we played had a much better memory in our hearts than
But
whatever
despite
film
saying that,
version or
I
whatever.
think I'll buy tickets to the cinema. I'll go.
So
Okay,
I think
now
after
let's
Sonic,
please let's talk about one of the favorite franchises ever which came up during that time, Max Payne.
Max Payne.
Oh
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
I was
whether you have played it or not, you have definitely heard about it. It was the
you can
grandfather of every action genre game of that time. It came to us and gave us the revered bullet time mechanic that's being used in every
yeah.
other game nowadays. Ever since the inception of that feature back in 2002 when Max Payne first came out. I think it was 2003. I may be wrong on the year, whatever.
Look, you
I'm
can
sure
forget
you are.
about bullet time, you can forget about action, but you cannot forget Mona.
Oh man,
uh,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. How many of you started like how many of you played Max Payne in the correct chronological order? Like Max Payne 1 first, then Max Payne 2,
No,
then Max Payne 3.
my first exposure was Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne.
Same,
Mine
same. And
yeah.
that's the only Max Payne I played.
After
Yeah,
playing
Max
Max
Payne
Payne 2,
2
yeah, I
was
had
very
difficulty going back to Max Payne 1 actually.
Max Payne 1, yeah. 2 was really well made. It was
Yes.
like way ahead of what
2 was
others
a
were
game
doing.
changer.
Yeah. And I remember Sabi had come to my house one day and he had like finished almost 30 to 40% of the whole game. I was stuck on a level and he had already played it like 2 or 3 times before, and he just like went on and on. I kept watching. And then I
Yeah.
restarted from the beginning and played again.
Yeah. Max Payne 2 was a actually I remember spending a lot of time on Max Payne. Like Max Payne 2, I had beaten the game almost 2 to 3 times before moving on, and I had never spent so much time on a game before. I had played one more. We'll be coming to the GTA series later, but by then I had already started playing one GTA game. I think it was Liberty City, but I hadn't
Oh yeah.
spent so much time on Liberty City already. I spent so much time on Max Payne 2, like exploring several things. Like I now when I look back, I realize that I haven't spent so much, alternatives possible, exploring possible alternatives in any game as I did in Max
Yeah.
Payne. Any and not
Well,
even in Max Payne 3. That's fun.
Remedy Entertainment did say that they are remastering Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2. So fingers crossed. I'm waiting for that day, man. Oh my god, I'm gonna
Yeah.
replay them once again. And Max Payne 1 more because Max Payne 2 had actually completed, so I know the complete story. But Max Payne 1 I never really completed because of, going back in time. So I'm really excited for those two games to come out remastered.
And speaking of Max Payne, one more game which stuck with me, which I had played during that time, that was the Prince of Persia series, like the
Oh
original
my
Oh
one.
yeah.
god, of course, of
That
course.
that I think a lot of you have played,
Sands of
and
Time.
the Sands of
Yes.
Time, the Two Thrones, and the Warrior Within.
Two
Yeah,
Thrones, yeah.
I think I
Yes.
said in the wrong order, but anyways, those were the games, and I still
Oh,
remember
and
like
the
the
Which
Forgotten
Sands.
one?
Sands. And the Forgotten
Uh,
Sands.
I did not enjoy Forgotten Sands as
No, no,
much
no, no.
as the
It was
original
not
three.
in the. It was not part of the original trilogy. True,
Original
but it was
trilogy,
still.
yeah. Yeah, I still
Yeah, Prince of
remember the
Persia.
soundtrack.
The Prince of Persia games, they were popular on PC obviously, but they were popular on phone as well. Like,
Phone as well.
back
Yeah,
then, I remember we didn't have smartphones. We had those, small phones. It was not even my phone; it was my mom's. And we
of
used to
course.
install the APKs or JDKs, whatever we had back then, and start gaming off, and then like at that time beating those levels was pretty hard. There were 2D games, 2.5D at max, but that had a lot of those dynamics were a lot of like they were very immersive. We like after that, when we obviously shifted to the PC games, we realized, okay, that was nothing.
Life can get better.
Yeah.
Life
I
can
And
think.
get
then
better.
obviously, like Soham mentioned one game, and I believe it's not given enough credit, and that's Contra.
Oh
He
yeah,
mentioned it.
Yes,
He mentioned it in his it's funnier. It's obviously fun to play on PC, but
it's
I
like if
believe
it's like if Mario was given guns.
you could
Yeah.
call it that. That's an interesting
yeah,
take.
Yeah.
yeah,
But like Contra for me, like if you remember, like Sabby must have played like Contra, like the number of levels, and I remember there's this particular level where this guy who was the Contra guy, who was the soldier, who used to like sort of jump off into the water and then climb back off onto the highlands and sort of
yeah,
go on killing people and all.
yeah, yeah,
And like you're saying, it wasn't as crazy challenging and would have been like an IGI or something. It's like Mario going on a linear path with guns. But then the amount of geographical visuals it had, like you're going from a highland to under the water to this and that, like that was really,
yeah. It
like
had
it really
variations.
captured it that it had. Like it also brings me to the fact that it's obviously nothing related close, but did you guys ever play Tekken?
Yes, Tekken is still out there actually,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's
No,
still
if
I
out
you're
there.
haven't played.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I wasn't really much into these kinds of 2D fighting games.
Is
Uh-huh.
it
So
is it related to the movie Tekken?
no,
Definitely,
the
it's
game
actually
came
the
out
other way
earlier.
around. Yeah, it's the other way around.
Game.
Yeah, the
Okay.
game came out earlier. The movie is based on the game, not the other way around.
I see. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. It's just like
Um,
Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat was also the game first, and then the
It
movie
was
came
the
out.
game first.
does it
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that dialogue? I will find you and kill you. And yeah,
I think that was
So
a different
famously.
film.
Okay.
okay,
Okay,
okay. I
maybe
think
we
we
can address the elephant in the room. Not the elephant in the room, the thing which already came out of my mouth once, but I believe there are many of them to discuss. That is the Grand Theft Auto series.
Of
Oh
course,
yeah.
of course.
right.
The
Yeah,
magnum opuses of Rockstar Games.
yeah.
And
Starting with
like
GTA
probably
3
probably one of
and
the first games we had, like where we could just do anything.
Yeah,
Like
Yes,
that was the
yeah,
best
the
part about it.
concept
Like
of open world, free to play open world. Obviously, it wasn't totally open world, but the
yeah.
fact that you could actually go out of a linear storyline and explore side means beyond the scope of side missions. You could do anything. You could do anything which wasn't pertaining to any mission. The concept of cheat codes, that
yes.
was I believe GTA 3 didn't have cheat codes, but GTA Liberty City onwards we had cheat codes, I believe.
no, we had cheat codes in Vice City as well. So
Vice City came after that.
yeah, right,
Liberty
right.
City came first, yeah. So, but yeah, discussing Liberty City and Vice City is pretty much the same because Vice City, I played Liberty City first, and then I had a hilarious version called GTA Bangla,
Yes,
which
of
Yeah,
was
course.
obviously a
Oh
mod.
yeah, I do
God.
remember.
I think there
Oh,
were two
And then
like
I,
that, GTA Bangla and GTA Punjab, where they had like trucks and people down
yeah,
from the north. Yeah.
I learned
Yeah.
most of the slangs in my life from that game at such a tender age. Yes, and I regret nothing. Nothing. It added to my being,
yeah,
it added to my personality and everything. Whatever I am today, which, okay, I should be
Is
regretting
all
a
this
bit. I should be
words we
regretting a
learned
bit.
from
that
the
is
game.
I should be
you're
regretting a bit.
crossing a line there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but regarding GTA games, one important, so this is a debatable thing, and I guess I'd want your views on that. And maybe we can start with Onlook. Maybe like, do you think GTA Vice City was a more influential game on you than or GTA San Andreas?
Uh, I would say Vice City because I spent more time playing it, but I would also say that I enjoyed playing San Andreas more because of the better graphics. I mean, it's an open world game, so the better the graphics, the more enjoyable it's going to be.
Probably
And
because you could fuck somebody in a car, bro. That's the only reason you like San Andreas.
you
You
could
can do that in both the
go to
games.
the, yeah, you can do that in both the games. And also you had something like a rocket pack in San Andreas. You could fly around, and I
That
remember
was
I
such a
like,
lifesaver. That was such a
yeah,
lifesaver.
used to fly
But
around the whole city.
like
And
GTA San Andreas is the most fun with cheat codes. Without
yeah,
cheat codes, did you ever beat the game without cheat codes? Let's be honest.
I'll be
I
honest,
didn't.
I never completed Vice City all
Me
the
neither, yeah.
missions. I never completed San Andreas all the missions, but one game I completed wholly was GTA 5. And that had, I would say, the best storyline out of all the GTA games.
I personally feel that the funniest story among all the GTA games was in GTA 5. That was so hilarious. But at the same time, the most immersive, like the kind of things that the array of things that was available to you, that you could do with your character, was the most till now among all open world games across was in San Andreas. Can you name another open world game where you can make your character fat or thin based on your diet and your exercise routine in a game? No, you can't. The amount of clothes that you can choose from, the amount of hairstyles, accessories, it's unmatched by any other, even by the GTA standards. The
So
next
you
GTA
you were
games.
you were the guy who used to spend a lot of time in the salon in San Andreas. Like that was you.
I
Salon,
think
you
he
Regret
said
lost,
tattoo
nothing.
parlor.
I
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
lost touch of reality. Was
Yeah, well,
spending more time in the game.
Yeah, but San Andreas, I remember because San Andreas was coming back to the like question that we were discussing. Obviously, the more influential game among all the GTA series. For me, it was San Andreas, and that's because I had played Liberty City, I had played Vice City, I had played GTA 3. But San Andreas came to me at a time when I had no other decent games. So I used to spend a lot of time, and that was a very crucial time for me. I'll tell you that was what was the time. I was in class 8 to 10. That period, it was not. I can't even define a year or something. It's class 8 to 10. That period of time. And I remember even before ICSE, I remember our class 10 exams. I was like, I used to wake up to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. playing the game. Then I used to, study a bit. Then again play and study. Obviously, the study, you can guess how much that happened. But
You
CJ
used to
at
take
that time,
study breaks. You used to take
yeah,
study
study
breaks in
breaks.
between gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, but CJ at a time, like the concept of San Andreas was like heart shattering to me. I had maybe before that, yeah, I was a nerd. I used to study a lot, but the concept of open world games, obviously, those concepts are all there. But three cities, several small towns, side missions, then obviously the cheat codes were there. It's important to note I had that hot coffee mode, which was there in San Andreas, and okay, I won't say any further.
I would argue that you know the streets of San Andreas better than the streets of Kolkata, where you live in.
Ah, yes, any day, any day. Leave me in any
Okay.
part of San Andreas, and I can take you anywhere. I
You know,
finished the taxi missions.
I recently read a news article. A newly married wife got surprised because her fiance was her husband was able to drive Las Vegas without knowing the streets, and he claims to have learned it from GTA.
Oh God,
So
that
yeah,
happens a
that's
lot with me.
adventurous.
That happens a lot with me when I see
Yeah, the
pictures
last
of
time you went to Las
California.
Vegas, yeah.
No, 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 no. When I see pictures of California streets, a lot of junctures and streets are recognizable to me because I've spent a lot of hours playing GTA 5. They have recreated the California city into Los Santos in the game, and like almost picture perfectly. It's really weird when I can recognize some street which I've never been to. The yeah.
Okay, that's we'll take a break from GTA maybe, and
Yeah, sure.
we'll shift to another franchise which Soham also mentioned, and I believe Arnav also mentioned. That was Counter Strike. So
Yeah.
CS one, starting all the way back, CS basic one, then CS 1.6, then
1.6.
CS Go.
Yeah,
CS:GO
All
is
of
I
still
would
these,
out
like
like,
there.
for CS, I think this is around the time when we were all in fifth grade, seventh grade, like sixth grade, and the whole cyber cafes and cyber gaming centers were a thing, like at least in all major cities in this country. And I think the major game you would see people playing all around the cyber cafes, and apart from the GTA ones, were the people sitting like all huddled around a computer.
okay,
Right, like sitting. Just pardon us for that. Like sitting huddled around a computer and gaming crazily, like, and I could like overhear stuff like terrorists win, counter terrorists win, and like I think the, for me, if I'm to recreate cyber cafe culture in Calcutta or cities like in India, CS:GO or CS like Counter Strike would be that game that's always being played around and people are like huddled around one
yeah,
computer.
and related to that, there were actually gaming tournaments, in cyber
Yeah,
cafes, and they were locally organized. They weren't, of a huge scale, because obviously at that time we didn't have the social media that much, so
the
there
esports
wasn't the
culture was not there.
possibility. Yeah, there wasn't the possibility of organizing a pan India gaming contest like the ones you have right now related, PUBG and everything. So back then it was small things you used to know from your friends that in this city there, or in this part of the city, there's one cyber cafe here where you can all the cafe will be closed on that day only for you guys can only come here and play that game. There'll be a tournament. There were even cash prizes involved. Obviously I wasn't a part of that, but I had attended once or twice with some of my friends, and they had a different atmosphere in them. Like you could see, like, the dedication that people had towards CS 1.6 was beyond anything. And
Yeah,
there was
it's
literally
like
a saying,
the
like, from
gaming.
dawn to dusk, that thing.
Yeah, it's a gaming equivalent of para football, you can say. Like they had all para teams fighting each other, and yeah, I mean it's still a scene which is like growing massively in India, and I think in the coming years we will see more organizations pop up to take it more seriously.
Again, to all our listeners who are not from here, para basically translates to mohalla or like neighborhood. So para football
Yes.
is a sort of a thing here we do, which is sort of like there are teams where every mohalla in Hindi you call it, they have a football team, and one neighborhood versus the other neighborhood has a football match. So that's something again really huge here, which again sort of translates lesser to other cities in India, which is why sort of explaining it more than
Yeah, but
it's
I
required.
feel that this concept of CS having neighborhood competitions, this was a countrywide thing, if not
I'm
worldwide.
sure. I'm
Obviously, it
sure.
was a
Yeah,
countrywide thing because I've seen it in Delhi, I've seen it pretty close in Chandigarh as well, and in Kolkata. Obviously, I've lived it, but it's there. It was there everywhere at a time. That was the case. And CS, and I think that pretty comfortably translated into CS. And obviously by the time you had the boom of CSGO, you had obviously social media booming up, so that helped the hype. Not, it didn't harm, it helped. A lot of players, a lot of tactics came up on the scene, and now obviously you have huge tournaments. Nobody back then, nobody would have thought that a game can actually get you real money, other than of course
Yeah.
these shitty tournaments and all.
Yeah.
I think Counter Strike was really like that part because I think after Counter Strike, I also moved on from gaming as such. And like my exposure, again, like I was saying, after that sort of reduced massively in Counter Strike. And that sound, terrorists win, counter terrorists win, that
Yes.
repeated sounds of
I
that,
used
like
to
that's,
I used to come back from school with my friend and walk back from school. And while we're walking down the road, we used to like fake shoot at each other with our finger guns and say, "Roger that."
Yeah,
It was so
and
fun.
honorable mention with Counter Strike would definitely be Dota. A lot of people played
Yeah.
that as well. I
Yeah.
personally didn't play Dota that much. Dota and subsequently there was the Dota series, Dota 2 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Dota 2
Dota
is,
2
I
is
believe
more popular,
it's
I think. It's the more
Yeah.
like
yeah,
the goated version. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So so yeah, I think everyone can understand that gaming is a topic which is quite emotional for us, and I think we can go all like for hours on this. But in the interest of time, I think this is a good point to end this
Yeah,
topic.
before ending, let me just ask you all, if you had to choose three games from that era that were out of all these games that we discussed, three games that really touched your heart and will always be a part of you, or what
Okay,
will it be?
I'll start. I'll start.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so first will be IGI.
Yeah,
Second will be Prince of Persia: Sands of Time,
yeah.
and third would be a mobile game which I have spent hours and hours of my life into, and I'm still playing that. That would be Clash of Clans.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
yeah. For me, that would be one of them. Obviously, is IGI, and another game which I forgot mentioning, but I believe it's criminally underrated and it should have been mentioned. That is FIFA, FIFA series,
Of
football, of
course,
course. Yeah,
of
that
course.
FIFA, especially 11, 12, I played those a lot.
FIFA 11
And
was
yeah, and of course, want to mention Clash of Clans. That helped me, not helped me. I used to play Clash of Clans a lot in my formative years, so, in school. So yeah, I even right now my phone for some reason it has some issues, but otherwise, Clash of Clans is something that's very
Yeah. For me, the three games that mattered to me from that era were Prince of Persia: Two Thrones, Max Payne 2, and GTA San Andreas. Like these were my world. I still now believe that they were one of the peak of gaming, and they still are. So, what about you,
right.
Sean?
For me, it would be mostly I like completely agree with this Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. Like that was one game I really played throughout. Like I played a lot of it. FIFA is another thing I've spent a major part of my life playing and watching and like doing what not with it, like with the franchisee and all. FIFA 11 and 12 primarily. I think I still play FIFA, so like that's one thing I
Yeah.
still do. And lastly, I think it would be yeah, Contra. Why not? Like that's again something being very, very like close to me when I was a child. Like I don't know, maybe middle school Contra would be the thing I used to come back home and sort of keep play all the day. So yeah, I think that's all. That's mostly it for this round of discussion about the games and everything, and the whole culture, cyber cafes and all that we sort of reminisced in this podcast. So yeah, any parting notes, anything you guys want to share?
Yeah, the obvious sound icks that we faced in the middle of the podcast. Please forgive us for that. We are just starting out with no gears whatsoever. So please bear with us through the time
Yeah,
being.
Tanmay Bhatt, if you're
yeah.
listening to it, a donation would be more than welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
sure, sure.
actually, like guys, like this sound also relevant to this topic. The sound also reminded me of something. When you were in a cyber cafe, so Soham had mentioned regarding CS and all that. You used to be in a cyber cafe, or you were playing an online game, and suddenly there was a power.
Yes,
That at that time, that disruption, it was close to a riot.
yes.
Yeah.
Any riot would fall short of that.
Nowadays,
And
games have auto saves. Back then, you had to manually save every point, otherwise gone. You have to start back from the first end where you saved. Of
yeah, and so I want to mention that remember Max Payne 2 when I was playing at your house, and I there was the critical part which he was mentioning, and I had figured out how to play that, but I hadn't saved it after I crossed that. So the next time I had to do it again, and I couldn't do it. So I had to try
Yeah.
3, 4 more times. That was so
yeah, you're
frustrating.
stuck.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So yeah, I mean that's it then. Let's sort of
Yeah, let's wrap today's episode then. Hope
And
you like this
if
episode.
you And if you guys
Thank
like this, please make sure to mention what are your favorite childhood games that you
Yeah.
guys are playing or have like miss playing, right? So yeah, please do let us know. Thank you for
And
listening.
do check out our Instagram channel as well.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
sure.
we've
might
been
get
very
some exclusive.
painstakingly making Instagram channels, YouTube channels. If you want to reach us out there regarding your opinions on how we should go ahead with this podcast, because we are clearly like learning, and we would want to learn rather than sort of be claiming to be the best around there, which we clearly are not. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for tuning in. Find us on Instagram, find us on YouTube. We go by the same name, and we'll be back again next week.
Peace.
Bye.